The 1960s, a decade when the world stepped into the age of speed. Interstate highways expanded across the United States, Europe surged with new autobahn routes, and car culture shimmered with chrome, rock music, and dreams of freedom on four wheels. This was the era of muscle cars, of big block V8s, of long coupe bodies shaped like yachts, and steel lines carved to challenge the wind. But within all that beauty, there was a quiet truth hidden beneath. Safety engineering was still primitive. No ABS, no crumple zones, and seatbelts were not yet mandatory. Automakers raced for horsepower, yet nearly forgot stability and control. It created a decade that was brilliant, but also filled with danger. And today, we will turn back time and explore the 12 most dangerous cars of the 1960s. 1960, Chevrolet Corvair. The story of the Corvair began as a challenge. Chevrolet wanted to build a compact American car with a rear-mounted, air-cooled engine, something no US manufacturer had dared to pursue at the time. Its rounded, gentle design and rear engine bay made the Corvair a distinctive symbol among the vast field of big V8 sedans in America. It was refined, unusual, and full of technical ambition. But that very rear engine layout, combined with the swing axle suspension, became its greatest dark side. During sharp cornering, the rear axle could swing upward too far, causing sudden oversteer. The rear-biased weight made the tail snap even harder, and inexperienced drivers could easily lose control. Chevrolet's initial decision not to equip a front anti-roll bar made the Corvair even more unpredictable, especially at high speeds. The result was a series of rollover accidents, sideways slides, and unexpected spins on the highway. Drivers often described the sensation as the rear end doing whatever it wants, while the four-wheel drum brakes were prone to brake fade on long downhill runs. 1965, Ford Mustang Shelby GT350. The GT350 was never born as an ordinary street car. It was shaped by Carroll Shelby to become a true race car for the street. The sharp-edged fastback body, the bold racing stripes, and the 289 Hypo V8 roaring as if it wanted to tear itself from the pavement made the GT350 fast, light, aggressive, and infused with a wildness the standard Mustang never possessed. But that racing spirit created a clear dark side once the car met real roads. The stiff suspension and quick responses made it overly sensitive to rough pavement. Even a small pothole could unsettle the body, leading to a tail slide if the driver was mid-corner. The period bias ply tires offered limited grip, making the GT350 prone to stepping out when accelerating out of a turn or making sudden steering inputs. The front brakes were strong, but not stable enough for long runs. After several hard slowdowns, brake fade increased the stopping distance beyond what drivers expected. On the highway, the steering was sharp, but sometimes a bit alive, turning the GT350 into a machine that demanded truly steady hands. 1963, Chevrolet Corvette C2 Stingray. The arrival of the Corvette C2 Stingray was like an explosion in the world of American cars. Its unique split-window fastback design, the low and wide body shaped by early wind tunnel principles, and the 327 or 427 big block V8 delivering a deep, round, and fierce sound made the C2 more than just a car. It was America's declaration that it could build a sports car worthy of Europe. In a straight line, the Stingray was a steel arrow, breathtakingly beautiful. But behind that beauty was a dark side few anticipated. With the 427 big block version, The heavy front weight caused severe understeer when entering corners. The rear suspension, using a transverse leaf spring, was still primitive, leading to unstable high-speed responses. Notably, versions with rear drum brakes often suffered from brake force imbalance, causing the car to spin if the driver applied the brakes while cornering. Drivers often describe the sensation as the nose sliding wide outward, while the rear end would shudder violently during sudden acceleration on uneven pavement. At speeds above 160 km per hour, crosswinds could make the body sway. Just a slight overcorrection of the steering wheel, and the Corvette could jump into the next lane. 1964. Porsche 911. The arrival of the Porsche 911 in 1964 felt like a bold declaration from Stuttgart. A lightweight, refined sports car with a rear-mounted flat-six engine and an intoxicating mechanical howl. Its soft, rounded roofline and short nose created a silhouette that was almost impossible to mistake. With its unique weight distribution, the 911 became a new symbol of German engineering and performance. Quick, precise, and compact like a surgical blade. But in the early short wheelbase models, that very strength became a double-edged sword. The heavy rear axle weight, combined with the short wheelbase, gave the car an extremely rapid tendency towards snap-over steer. Even lifting off the throttle mid-corner could send the tail whipping around, producing a spin that was nearly unrecoverable for inexperienced drivers. The period bias ply tires further reduced grip, turning the task of controlling a 911 into an unforgiving challenge. The consequences often included sudden spins on mountain roads or the unnerving feeling of the tail trying to pass the front when cornering at higher speeds. When drivers failed to anticipate weight transfer, the 911 became a companion full of challenge and, at times, danger. 1965. Chevrolet SS 396. The Chevelle SS 396 was never meant to chase refinement. It was born to embody pure American power. Its squared-off body, large wheel arches, and muscular, hard-top roofline spoke the language of strength. And under the hood sat the 396 big block V8, its exhaust note deep and dense like distant rolling thunder. In the height of the muscle car era, the SS 396 became a symbol of freedom and straight-line dominance. But once it left the highway and entered winding roads, the car revealed serious limitations. The comfort-oriented chassis allowed significant body roll in corners, creating a sense of sluggishness and imprecision. The heavy front end induced understeer, forcing the driver to turn wider just to stay on the intended line. The narrow bias ply tires further reduced grip when accelerating out of a bend. On long downhill stretches, the drum brakes began to lose effectiveness, demanding heavier pedal pressure and longer stopping distances, something that kept drivers constantly cautious. At high speeds, road undulations caused the rear end to wiggle slightly, requiring a firm grip on the steering wheel to maintain stability. 1966 Dodge Charger. The Dodge Charger entered the late 1960s like a true giant, an almost endless body, a seamless fastback roofline, and hidden headlamps that carried a mysterious, powerful aura. Under the hood sat V8 options, like the 383, 440, or the 426 Hemi, each startup sending a surge of mechanical force rumbling like a war drum. The Charger was beautiful in a too-big-to-ignore kind of way, carrying the cinematic spirit of Detroit's golden age. But that massive size also became a weakness that was hard to hide. The long wheelbase made the car slow to change direction, creating a heavy, reluctant feeling during quick lane shifts. The torsion bar front and leaf spring rear suspension leaned towards softness, causing the body to roll significantly in corners. Weighing nearly 2 tons, the Charger pushed its bias ply tires to their limits, reducing grip during hard acceleration or tight cornering. At high speeds, wavy pavement could make the rear end bounce slightly, giving the Charger the sensation of rocking over swells. The large drum brakes worked hard to slow such a heavy machine, forcing drivers to maintain a wider safety margin than usual. 1969. Triumph TR6. The Triumph TR6 was not a car built to seek attention. It made its mark through a distinctly British classic charm. A low roadster profile, a long hood, and a crisp, squared-off tail. The minimalist interior, the thin wooden steering wheel, and the 2.5-liter inline-six producing its signature raspy tone made the TR6 an ideal companion for sun-drenched country roads. It carried the romantic spirit of the analog sports car era, compact, light, and delightfully simple. But that gentle appearance hid some significant technical challenges. The rear suspension, though improved from earlier generations, still relied on a variant of the swing axle layout, causing the rear wheels to change camber angle dramatically under sharp steering inputs. That meant even a small overcorrection could send the tail sliding wide without warning. The light body made the TR6 highly sensitive to crosswinds. On long highway drives, a strong gust could make the car sway slightly. On mountain roads, the uneven front-to-rear braking balance caused stopping power to diminish during extended downhill runs, forcing drivers to brake earlier and more delicately. At higher speeds, rough pavement could create a subtle vibration in the steering wheel, a soft yet unmistakable warning. 1960. Renault Dauphine. The Renault Dauphine carried the gentle look of a post-war European car. Small, rounded, and economical, its rear-mounted 4-cylinder engine produced just over 30 horsepower, and the light body made it perfectly suited for the narrow streets of Paris or Lyon. That charming appearance led many families to choose the Dauphine as a daily companion, simple, familiar, and friendly. But behind its likable nature was a structure that carried hidden risks. The rear engine, rear drive layout combined with the swing axle rear suspension made the car extremely sensitive to weight transfer. In corners, the rear wheels could tuck in with an unfavorable camber angle, sending the tail outward in an instant if the driver turned too sharply or lifted off the throttle unexpectedly. The heavy rear-end weight only made its reactions more unpredictable. On wet roads, the Dauphine became more playful than safety would allow. Even a slightly fast corner could spin the car lightly before the driver realized what had happened. The small drum brakes quickly lost effectiveness on long downhill stretches, forcing the driver to use lower gears to control speed. 1964. Pontiac GTO. The Pontiac GTO was more than just a car. It was the spark that ignited the entire muscle car era. Its squared-off coupe shape, the powerful split grille, and the 389 V8 paired with tri-power carburetors created a sound that was deep, gritty, and unmistakably American. The GTO felt like a declaration. Power is emotion. And indeed, in a straight line, it was strong, explosive, and mesmerizing. But once driven in real-world conditions, the GTO revealed some unavoidable weaknesses. Its chassis still relied on a rear live axle and soft suspension, causing significant body roll when cornering. This produced heavy understeer, forcing the driver to steer wider and sometimes losing the intended line if entering too quickly. When trying to correct with throttle or steering input, the rear end could swing in the opposite direction, an unstable trajectory that demanded caution. At high speeds, the GTO's substantial weight made it feel as if it were gliding over road ripples, creating a gentle, side-to-side motion in the body. The four-wheel drum brakes, especially on models without the optional front discs, became ineffective during repeated slowdowns, requiring drivers to plan for longer stopping distances. 1962, Lotus Elan. The Lotus Elan appeared as the perfect embodiment of Colin Chapman's philosophy of light is fast. Its small, compact body, the unique steel backbone chassis, and the 1.6-liter twin-cam engine created a driving sensation so precise it felt almost fused to the road surface. The Elan stood as the counterpoint to America's muscle machines. Not loud, not large, but sharp, agile, and graceful, like a thin blade cutting through the wind. Yet that ultra-lightweight nature also made the Elan fragile in harsher situations. The backbone frame, though clever, could flex slightly when hitting potholes at high speeds, causing the steering feedback to lose its absolute precision. The soft suspension, tuned with a touring mindset, allowed more body movement than expected during long-distance driving. The narrow 1960s tires were quick to lose grip during rapid weight transfer, making the car prone to mild front or rear slides if the driver became too confident. At higher speeds, crosswinds could nudge the body, and repeated braking on downhill roads reduced the firmness of the pedal, forcing the driver to plan each deceleration carefully. 1966, Oldsmobile Toronado. The Oldsmobile Toronado arrived like a pivot point for the American auto industry. A full-size luxury coupe weighing nearly 2 tons, yet driven by the front wheels. Its long, smooth, fastback profile, muscular wheel arches, and living room-like interior made the Toronado a symbol of bold innovation. The torque-rich 425 V8 sent the whole car surging forward with a force few believed could be channeled through just 2 front tires. But that very design created its greatest challenges. Under hard acceleration, the steering wheel could tug sharply due to torque steer, forcing the driver to keep a firm grip. The heavy front end caused the Toronado to push wide through corners, especially when making sudden evasive maneuvers. On rough pavement, the front wheels lost grip in small, rapid intervals, making the car's trajectory feel gently unsettled and harder to predict. On slick roads, even a slightly aggressive throttle input could make the front tires spin and pull the car sideways before stability returned. During repeated braking, the large brakes, overloaded by the vehicle's sheer mass, gradually lost stopping power, requiring the driver to lift off earlier than expected. 1967, De Tomaso Mangusta. The De Tomaso Mangusta appeared like a steel arrow from the future, a low body, bold, angular lines, and especially the twin gull-wing engine covers at the rear, an almost cinematic detail that few supercars have ever matched. Beneath that dramatic Italian design lay American muscle, the Ford 289 or 302 V8, its raw, sharp, dry, and powerful like the strike of a steel hammer. The Mangusta radiated dangerous beauty, allure, and undeniable charisma. But that beauty hid an unfinished reality. The Mangusta's chassis lacked the necessary torsional rigidity, causing the body to flex slightly when cornering at high speed. The rear-biased weight distribution produced strong oversteer, sometimes so sudden that the tail could snap simply because the driver lifted off the throttle at the wrong moment. The rear suspension, built with a simple design, delivered harsh feedback, and reacted to every ripple in the road's surface. At speeds above 100 miles per hour, the light front end made the car sway with the wind, a precarious sensation, as if one unfavorable gust could push its trajectory off the driver's intended line. During repeated braking, stopping power gradually faded, forcing drivers to slow down much earlier than they expected. The 1960s left the world with cars so breathtakingly beautiful: chrome that shimmered, V8s that roared, sweeping fastback lines, and a spirit of speed ruling every road. The cars we've just revisited are a legacy worth honoring, but also a reminder that classic beauty always walks hand in hand with risk. Share below. Have you ever driven, seen, or dreamed of any of these machines? And don't forget to like and subscribe to continue the journey through automotive history.